All right, let's just jump right into this one because it is wild. Someone managed to get their hands on incredibly sensitive info from Mexico's National Guard. And I mean everything. Mission details, where their people were, the whole deal. But, and this is the crazy part, they didn't do it by cracking into some high security server. Nope. They did it with some basic off-the-shelf gear and a regular old TV antenna. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. That sounds completely impossible, right? Like something straight out of a spy movie. But it's real. A team of university researchers pulled this off. And in doing so, they uncovered this massive, gaping security hole that pretty much nobody even knew was there. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How on earth is that even possible? How can something so simple threaten national security? Well, the answer isn't locked away in some fortified, high-tech bunker. No, the real weakness wasn't on the ground at all. It was thousands of kilometers up, literally hiding in plain sight, right above our heads in the sky, where all of our data is zipping back and forth every single second. Okay, so let's get into how this whole thing was discovered. You might think it was some big government investigation, right? Wrong. It all started with a really simple but kind of brilliant idea from a group of academic researchers. Yeah, it was pretty much as simple as it sounds. A team from the University of California, San Diego, and the University of Maryland basically just pointed an antenna at the sky. They went up to a rooftop, aimed it up there, and just listened. They started scanning frequencies just to see what they might find. And here's the part that just blows my mind. The cost. They pulled all this off with about $700 worth of equipment. You know, stuff you could probably buy online right now. That's less than a new phone. So this wasn't some huge state-sponsored operation with a blank check. It was just a few really smart people with a simple antenna and a lot of curiosity. So what's the deal with the sky? Why is it the perfect place to hide this kind of vulnerability? Well, it all boils down to one specific kind of technology, a certain type of satellite. It's called a geostationary satellite, and honestly, it's a total marvel of physics. See, for a satellite to stay perfectly locked in place above one spot on Earth, it has to be at a super precise altitude, exactly 35,786 kilometers up. And it's not just sitting there, it's whipping around at an incredible 11,000 kilometers per hour to match the Earth's spin. And that's the key, right? From our point of view, down here on the ground, these satellites look like they're not moving at all. They just hang there in the sky. It's the exact same reason your satellite TV dish on your roof doesn't have to move. It just points at one spot. Super convenient, right? But as these researchers found out, that convenience, well, it created a huge weakness. So, with their antenna aimed right at this busy highway of stationary satellites, the researchers just started listening in, analyzing all the data streams they could pick up. And what they found was absolutely shocking. I mean, check this out. The sheer scale of the problem was just staggering. A full 70% of the transmissions they picked up were completely unencrypted. Now, encryption is just Tech 101 for security. It's basically scrambling your data so only the right person can read it. But here, this data was being sent completely in the clear. It's like sending a postcard instead of a sealed letter. Anyone who intercepts it can read the whole thing. And you're probably wondering who was being so careless. Well, we're not talking about small companies here. We're talking about Mexico's National Guard, the National Electric Company, CFE, huge telecoms like Telmex, AT&T, and T-Mobile, big banks like Santander and Banorte, even U.S. military vessels and commercial airlines. I mean, a massive list of critical organizations were just broadcasting their secrets for anyone to hear. So what kind of information are we talking about exactly? This wasn't just junk data. No, this was the important stuff. Highly sensitive, mission-critical information. I mean, just look at these examples. For the National Guard, they were able to see operational details, the locations of personnel, even the real-time position of their Black Hawk helicopters. For the phone companies, they scooped up 2,700 phone numbers, texts, and calls in just 9 hours. The electric company was broadcasting work orders with customer names and home addresses, and banks were sending unencrypted data to their ATMs in remote areas. It's just a staggering amount of sensitive info. You know, the title the researchers gave their paper really says it all. They called it Don't Look Up, which is just perfect, right? It's this direct nod to the fact that this giant security flaw is literally hanging over our heads. And if you just bother to look, you can see everything. Okay, so this brings up a really important question. You might be thinking, if this is so dangerous, why on earth would these researchers publish it and tell the whole world? And look, that's a fair question. On the surface, it sounds incredibly reckless. But the answer gets to the heart of what's called ethical hacking, or, hacking for good. It really comes down to this classic idea of white hat versus black hat hackers. The bad guys, the black hats, find these security holes and exploit them in secret for money or to cause chaos. But white hats, like these researchers, have a totally different mission. Their goal is to find the flaws first, before the bad guys do, and then get them fixed. And they do that through a process called responsible disclosure. And that's the exact process they followed here. Step 1, they privately reached out to every single company and government agency they found and warned them about the problem. Step 2, they gave them time, a grace period, to fix the issue and encrypt their data. It was only after that time was up that they finally went public with their findings on October 13th. And then comes the last step, and this is probably the most controversial part. They put the software they built to do all this up on GitHub for anyone to download. Now, I know, that sounds crazy, right? Aren't you just handing the bad guys the keys? But the thinking behind it is this. The really sophisticated bad guys, we're talking foreign governments, organized crime, they probably already know about this kind of weakness and have been using it for years in secret. So, by making the tools public, you force everyone to take it seriously. You take away the secret advantage the bad guys had. It all boils down to this one crucial point. A vulnerability that anyone can exploit is one that everyone must fix. There's no more hiding. It has to be dealt with, and it has to be dealt with right now. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about Mexico's National Guard. It's really a massive wake-up call for all of us. Think about it. So much of our world, from military ops to just sending a text, relies on all this data flying invisibly over our heads. So after seeing just how easily it can all be scooped up with a cheap antenna, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Are our secrets really secure at all?